Hey, this is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanisms in Caper Europe. I have the new Kickstarter Mastermind edition of this two-player game. I'll call it a two-player tug-of-war game, giving away one of my favorite mechanisms in the game. And this is just an elegantly designed and expertly produced game in a number of different ways. So I'm going to point out a couple different things that I really like about this game. One is the drafting element of the game. So actually, let me show you, before I start pulling things out of the box, let me show you what the organization looks like, because they did, this is from the creators of Parks. Again, they did a wonderful job creating a concise, tight fit for everything in this box. I'm finding the lid hard to pull off, so I won't pull out some cards, but the idea of the game is that over the course of 6 rounds, you are going to be drafting cards. So I have a hand of cards. I'm going to pick one, and then I will play that card right away, and then you'll pick one card from the hand of cards that you have, and you'll play that card right away, and then we'll trade hands. So it's a two-player draft where you're just playing a card and then trading hands, and it flows really, really well as a result. Turns are very simple. You're playing a card somewhere in front of you, in front of this long board that folds out here. One of the 3 different areas of this board, you're playing a card there. And sometimes it gives you a one-time bonus. Sometimes it's more relevant for the end of the game. But turns are really simple. I like that drafting element in a two-player game. It's kind of soft interaction. You're taking a card that your opponent can't take because you are the one claiming that card. In addition to that, I really like, there's a little graphic design touch here. It shows you, so I said you play over 6 rounds. These are the 6 rounds, and what these arrows show you are how many cards you are each going to have in hand. So this is a 6-card round, and the arrow shows who is taking the first turn of that round, which is pretty relevant in a tug-of-war game because it means that the last player has a little bit more information because they are playing the last card. The first player gets a little bit of advantage because they get to act first. But I really just like that they included it graphically so simply on the board in this way. So I really like those elements. As I mentioned, this is a tug-of-war game, and I love tug-of-war games. Each of the different areas of the board, here's one of the areas, has a little track here. You start with the caper token in the middle of the track, and you are vying for basically who's going to complete the heist for this area. So it might be in a museum. So a museum card might be right here, and that museum might have special rules saying that if you are the one that wins this heist, so if the caper token is more on your side, pulled towards you at the end of the game, then you get a special bonus related to that specific heist. However, there are other bonuses that you can get based on the cards that you've played in this area. There are either there are people cards and there are item cards that you can play in this area. You can equip items to people that make them better, and that can help you move this token towards you. Or you can just kind of ignore the tug-of-war and go after the tokens, go after the points from the people. There are a bunch of different ways to get points in this game. I really, really like that. But I do always like the tug-of-war. I like that I'm pushing and pulling this token back and forth. And I found, we played 2 games of this, all 2-player. It's only a 2-player game. And we used 2 different strategies in both the games that we played, me and my opponent. And it was neat to see how the tug-of-war had a different impact in those games. One of the games, we really went after the tug-of-war. The other game, we didn't go after it quite as much, even though it was still relevant. But in both games, there was one area where I just won that track. One of the other areas, my opponent just won that track, and there was one other one that we were really vying for back and forth. And so that was interesting. Since they chose to have 3 arenas in this game, I think that might be the sweet spot for tug-of-war 2-player games, because even if 2 of the arenas aren't competitive, it means that one of them probably is very competitive. You're really pushing back and forth in that theater or that area. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention here, but I'm blanking on it now. The rule book. I wanted to mention this. I noticed this in the rule book. This is a really clever touch. This isn't a mechanism, but they have all the rules on the page, outlined, full illustrations, plenty of visual examples, but at the bottom of each page, just a nice little touch in the rule book, they have a little tip, just a little reminder, and it's a little different on every page, and it's related to the rules on that page. Let's see if I can find another one. And it's pretty much on every page of the book, and so I really like that it's in the same place on every page, that it's separated, so if you don't want to pay attention to it, you don't have to. It's just an extra thing to look at to get a tip. But I just like that it's on every page. There's a tip on every single page, giving you a special tip and to explain some concepts. Like this one explains what a draft is, if you aren't familiar with that. So they're not all tips. Sometimes they're just extra explanations for those who aren't familiar with gaming terms, things like that. I just thought that was a really nice way to lay out this rulebook, to have that bar at the bottom. You can look at it if you want to. You don't have to. That gives you a tip if you want to. Yeah, beautiful production here. I really enjoyed my plays so far of Caper Europe, and I don't know the order. Actually, this video will come out later. I filmed my favorite 2-player game video earlier before filming this video, and this game might be on that list. You'll have to find out when I release that video in a few weeks. So I'd love your thoughts. If any of this reminds you of another game, maybe another tug-of-war game, another heist game, feel free to mention your favorite mechanisms as it relates to what I said here in the comments below. Or if you've had the pleasure of already playing Caper Europe as well, I'd love to hear your favorite mechanism in the comments below too. Thanks.